Hello, my name is Bogdan. I am the owner of DNN Sharp. Today I want to give you a new perspective on our modules, and that is how you can use our modules to complete other modules. Because let's face it, sooner or later you will stumble into limitations that other modules have. And this is where our modules come to rescue, and today we will follow a practical example, and we will send a weekly notification to users on our website with latest 5 blog articles. Normally you would have to find a blog module that supports this, and probably you won't, or even if you do, probably it will not support other things. But then you can get our more generic components that can talk directly to the database, for example, and send some notification based on that. And for these examples, we will use the Ventrian news article that I've already set up on one of my development websites. So I have here already some articles, and I've already built a query that will basically return me the latest 5 articles along with their URL. And to build the URL, I just used the blog page and appended the ID to query string, because this is what news article actually expects. There's also a friendly URL that you could do, like slash and then replace spaces with dashes in the title column, but that's out of the scope of this video. Okay, so the way we are going to set up things is we are going for a scheduler for a scheduled task that will run once a week. Let's call it new blog articles. Notify about new blog articles. And here we get to specify triggers, and we get to specify different type of triggers. Like we can also attach database trigger. So this would be useful if, for example, we wanted to send a notification right away. Then we would just attach to the Ventrian news article table, and then every time an article is added, our job would fire, and we could compose an email to send it from somebody to somewhere, and then use the tokens from the database column. Like we could use title, and this would be the article title. So each column in the table would be turned into a token. So very easy to set up, very easy. But this is not the purpose of this video. So in this video I want to actually send a time-based trigger to fire a time-based trigger, and I will repeat it maybe once per week. So I can say maybe use this repeat daily and set it to maybe only Monday, and then maybe 12 AM is good for me. And next thing, I would load some user into the context. What this does, it loads a list of user IDs to which I want to send emails. So for my example, it would be enough to just write select user ID from user, so I'm sending to all users. But here probably you'd want to send only to some users that are in a given role, or that have followed that post, or something like that. So this would be the first action, and remember, the actions are executed exactly in the order that you see here. The next thing is I want to actually send the email. So here I can use the this is the email that we can send from. I have to fill this in, but then I will send to, and here I'll use the token email user double column email. What does this mean? Well, you probably already know this token if you dealt with DNN for some time. But in this context, Sharp Schedule will make sure that it points to every user that you loaded into the context. So this action, this send email action, will be executed for every user that was loaded in the context using this action. Okay. So I'm sending to this user, and then for the subject, I can use new blog articles this week or last week. Okay. And then in the body comes the more difficult part. Here I would have to list the 5 blog entries, and to list them I have 2 options. I can either format them from the query, so I could be appending all this title together and format an HTML code, and then I could use a run SQL query to run a query like this that concatenates everything and store the output in HTML body. Let's say I give this name, and then use this as a token in the email action. But I don't like this. This is a hacky solution to format HTML in SQL. Doesn't feel right. So what I'm going to do instead is I am going to build this from my tokens. So in my tokens I will create a new token. Let's call it latest articles DB, and I will explain you in a bit why I did this DB, because this will be a database token, and I just write the query here, and here is the columns that I want to extract. I know that I want a title and URL. Okay, save, and now I should already have a token here, and if I click it, it will open a test window at the bottom. And here when I click each token, you can see it only holds the information for one of the articles, because a token, like when you use it like this, it cannot display a list of articles because it does not know how to format. And to format this, actually we will build a script token, a razor token, that will actually loop over that database token. And let me show you how simple is this. So latest articles, and here I would just say for each var article in, and then I would use the namespace this is my namespace, you could have any name here, and then that and the name of the token, which is called latest article DB. I have it here. I'll just copy paste it because I see that I use plural in some places and it's easy to make mistakes, so I'm just copying it. So now I'm looping all the records returned by that query, and I can create, for example, a list of let's say an unordered list as HTML, and then for each item I can make a link. And now I will use razor variable, the razor article variable, to access the URL and the title. Save. Let's test this. Yeah, so you see it works. I already have some HTML code here. I could see it's HTML, and you see I already have my list of latest blog articles, and if you look at the URLs at the bottom, they already point to the right location. So now all I have to do is grab this token and use it in the email body. Okay, and this is all I have to do. Now just save, and of course I will not wait 1 week for this to run. I will just click run now, and I should be able to see when it's finished if it's a success or not, and based on that I will go and look at my email. And here you can see that I received an email with all the links, and if I were to click one, actually I see the URL is not correctly formatted. It lacks the domain name. You should also put that in, especially for emails, because on email there is no HTTP context to resolve this URL. So the way that I would have done it correctly is also write the HTTP, or at least local, or at least like that, local host, and the full address name. And one more thing that I forgot to point out is that in the email action you actually have to enable this option, send to user from context, to wire it to this action that we made here. Otherwise this action will not repeat for every user and will actually not send to any user, because there is no user currently loaded in the context. So you have to enable this option. And I think that proves the point. And this is just a particular example. Remember that you can do this in a lot of different ways. You have access to these functions, to these actions in very many of our modules. You can do this in action form. So you automate, for example, when you submit a form, you maybe post something directly into the blog article database. Therefore, you create a new form for writing blog articles. You could do that. We also have like a DNN API endpoint where you could receive HTTP requests to post a blog article, and in return you run a query to insert into that table. So you can see how our modules can be used actually to complete other modules, because one very important aspect that we've learned a long time ago and we've used it for building our success is that each module needs to solve this particular problem. A very long time ago we made modules that were solving a variety of problems, but they were very difficult for people to understand and master. Now we are just letting other modules fix the problems that are not specific to that module. For example, I wouldn't try to make this schedule task from any other module. I would use Sharp Scheduler to make schedule tasks, for example, for maintenance. If I need to clear up some records from action form, I would not implement it in action form as a feature. I would point out that there is a solution for doing this. So I hope this helps, and that you had a glimpse of the potential of what you can do with these modules. If you have any questions, just drop us an email or find us on our forum or social media, or we're everywhere basically. Thank you for your time.